Hi everybody, beautiful fall day here at the field, not a breath of wind, so it's a perfect day to get out and maiden my new RC Powers F-22 version 5, built primarily with Dollar Tree foam or Adams Readi-board. Anyway, I'm just going to throw it, I've got another video already on the F-22, so I'm just going to throw this one in the air, have a quick thrash, and then I'll do a bit more of a walk around in the last half of the video. As always, you can go down to the comments below for links to where to find the plans, the build, all that sort of stuff, as well as all the components I'm using today. So anyway, here we go. Very stable on the launch there. I'm launching at about 60% throttle with this power setup. So just keeping it at 60% throttle, nice tight figure 8 turn. Bring her by for another close pass here. So one thing about building with Dollar Tree foam is, you know, over very crisp axial roll there, over Depron or MPF is, you know, it reduces the, oh, nice and low there, baby. Cutting some grass. It reduces the drag profile by about 15%. This plane is at about 20.8 ounces. Unfortunately, the metric conversion escapes me right now, but so we'll do a nice smooth loop here. Very nice. I recycled my previous F-22 a while ago, so I've been really missing flying it. Some quick rolls on climb out there. Take her up. Oh, she didn't want to kick over that time with the under rudders. I guess I got a little too slow, actually stalled. So we'll do that again on the other side. That's a little better. Pilot error. So we'll punish the pilot error, a little high speed, high G turn. Just tracks so rock solid at full throttle in a tight turn. Speed is life, baby. Raptoratola of rock and rolla. I've said it many, many times before, RC Powers really outdid themselves with this version 5 of the F-22. It's the best F-22, RC Powers F-22 I've ever flown. And it's by far my favorite of all the version 5s that I've built and flown. All right, there's my time to land alarm. Slow her down, chop the power. Beautiful, beautiful glide. So well balanced. You know, it helps that there's no wind today. But anyway, so rather than you being bored with this long walk, I'm just going to pause the video now, and then I'll be right back with you to do a bit of a walk around. All right, everyone, as promised, back with a bit of a walk around here on my newly built F-22 version 5 from RC Powers. As I mentioned earlier, I've built, oh, pen roll away here. I've built this primarily out of Dollar Tree foam or Adams Readi-board. I did use on the what they call the engines here. I did, and the under rudders. I did use some scrap Depron. I've built NAMC MiG-35B completely out of Dollar Tree foam, and I just wanted to have a little bit of extra stiffness down here on the bottom, you know, obviously where it's landing, and with the under rudders there. So that's worked out really well, because it's given the plane a lot of strength sort of longitudinally here as well. So I'm very, very happy with that, and it didn't increase the frontal profile too much. So some things I wanted to show you about building with Dollar Tree foam. You can see essentially from the back, a little bit of vegetation there, from the back of the trailing edge of the KF backwards, I've left the paper on top and bottom, and it's been treated. You can see around, hopefully around the edges here, I've trimmed it back by about 1/4 of an inch. So it's, you know, it's tedious work. And then what I did was I took some glue, put a very thin bead, smeared it on with a scrap piece of foam, and what that does is it seals the edge of the paper and actually gives it a bit more stiffness. And then anywhere where the paper is, it's also been treated with oil-based Minwax polyurethane to make it waterproof, and also to give it a bit more stiffness. So what I learned in my MiG-35 build was, because all of that paper is back here, is it made it a little bit tail heavy. So I ended up with it being trimmed with my battery quite a bit further forward than when I flew my MPF and Depron planes. So on this one, I'll just start from the very beginning. So I built this at 95% of scale so that I could get a 27-inch wingspan, which is my favorite wingspan. Seems to be the best for most of these power systems that I use. I lowered the battery down in the battery bay. You know, it's going to be hard for you to see here looking from the top, but I lowered that down by at least 1/2 an inch. Brings the weight down even further, which I think is crucial in these stealth style park jets. Really helps give you a little better stability. That one time there where I tried to do a rudder kick turn over, I think what happened was I got too slow, and then it just automatically wanted to recover down. So it's probably a little bit bottom heavy, which I think for stability is better than being top heavy, where it might want to flip over on its back. So I also trimmed about 1/2 an inch off the top of the vertical stabilizers. They're fairly big, and what it does is it helps prevent you know, a lot of bobbling around in a crosswind, and it also, I think, helps to speed up the roll rate a little bit, because, you know, with the F-22 you've got this very unique wing shape. So if you don't compensate for that, your turns and your rolls can be a bit slow. So to compensate again for the paper back here, I moved the motor mount forward by 1 inch over plans. I also modified, because I'm using, this is a little quad racing motor. It's a RC Timer FR2205 2550 kV motor. I also modified the prop slot a little bit more, because this is a much shorter motor here than lots that I use. If the prop gets too close to this, it makes a lot of noise, and I don't think it's quite as efficient. I also moved the servos, except for the rudder servos, which are in the back. I moved the servos very far forward. The CG is right here, so these servos are actually ahead of that. So what ends up happening is, actually I'm pretty much balanced almost bang on. Again, here's the CG. So the motor mount is almost right on the stock CG. I'm actually balanced probably about 1/8 of an inch ahead of that. So that ended up working out well. And what it allowed me to do is, the distance essentially, the front of my battery is about here, where this vent is, back to this motor. It's only about 9 1/4 inches, so it really keeps all the bulk of the weight super tight around the CG. So that's worked out really well. Again, back to the Dollar Tree foam. As I mentioned when I was flying, the paper is off of the front of the wings and the fuselage. So compared to like a 6mm foam, my wing is only 13.5 inches thick as opposed to around 15 or inches millimeters thick, as opposed to about 15 if I built with like Depron and then used the Dollar Tree foam for the KF airfoils. Again, I'm using KF4, my favorite setup on all my park jets, and it also makes for a much sleeker profile. So what it does is, I actually started off, when I maidened it, I started it off with the throws that I had on my MPF F-22, and it just responded so much faster. I've already reduced the throws by about 20%. So anyway, there we go, folks. Again, please check out the comments below for more info and the links on the gear that I'm using. Just loving the F-22 version 5. So blue skies, calm winds to everyone. Park jet noise, the other sound of freedom, baby. Take care.